All right, here we go. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Are you?
Yeah.
What'd you do today? Football?
Yeah, watching football.
Like the rest of the world?
Yeah.
You're going for the Packers. Are you a Packers fan, or are you just pulling from?
I am not a Packers fan. I'm a Cowboys fan.
Who's a Packers fan that you know?
My wife.
She's a Packers fan?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
I don't know how. She's from El Paso, but she likes the Packers.
Well, probably because there's no team in El Paso.
But Dallas would be the closest one.
Or the Texans. So I'm a Titans fan, and the way I got to be a Titans fan is when I first moved here as a kid. They were the Houston Oilers, and so they would play the Oilers games all the time. And so when I started, because I'm from New Orleans, so people always think I'm a Saints fan. But when I moved to El Paso, they would always play the Oilers games, and then they got bought out by Nashville, and so I just stuck with them. And now they have the Texans, but that's how I became a Titans fan.
Yeah, I was wondering that. I was thinking about that the other day.
Not a lot of people know that. That's like
I knew you were a Titans fan, but I didn't know why.
Yeah, everyone always tells me like how that. They always think it's weird that I'm a Titans fan in general, even before they know I was from New Orleans.
Or that anyone is.
Because they're like, wait, what? Like everyone in Cruces, because there's no team here. There's a lot of Broncos fans. There's a lot of what else? Cowboys fans for sure. Raiders. I feel like we're missing one. There's another important
Patriots.
one. Yeah, I feel like those fuckers are everywhere though.
True.
You don't even have to be in Boston.
True.
So I want to ask you about something. I was thinking about something earlier today, and I wanted to ask you about it. And there's a reason for it, but we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Did you, at any point when you were a kid, do you remember when you were in school and they did the whole, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? There's no pressure. You have time to figure it out. But what do you want to be?
Yeah.
Do you remember them doing that?
Yeah.
Do you remember when you were young having a thing that you wanted to be?
Yeah.
What was it?
A heart surgeon.
You wanted to be a heart surgeon?
I did. I shot for the stars.
How old were you when you wanted to be a heart surgeon?
I remember thinking that when I was still in elementary school.
Yeah.
So probably like 4th, 5th grade.
Oh. I remember. That's weird because it's specific as fuck. I feel like, everyone's always like, I want to be a doctor, right? Is what it would be. But you were specific. You wanted to be a heart surgeon.
Heart surgeon.
Did you know someone that was a heart surgeon?
No.
Did you watch a show about heart surgeons?
I don't know.
Did you know what a heart surgeon was? Like, or did you just think it sounded cool?
No, I knew what it was. My parents are nurses, so I grew up in that field, and I knew that I did not want to be a nurse because there was a lot of it that I didn't like about it. And so I was like, I want to make some big bucks, and I want to do some cool stuff.
I remember that was kind of part of it. Everyone would be like, well, how much, like, what makes the most?
Yeah, for sure.
And then they're like a surgeon or something. Like, well, then, yeah, I want to be that, or a lawyer or something. So I remember a lot of kids doing that.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, motherfucker. Here, pick this up a little bit.
Fine.
Okay. So I think it was middle school. I'm going to guess 6th grade, maybe 7th. But I remember it was like right around the time that Columbine happened.
Okay.
And there was also a shooting at an El Paso school back then. And I remember like being very like my parents were not good parents. This was when I lived with my biological parents. Mm-hmm. And I remember like watching the news. I was like, what the fuck? Like a bunch of kids died. And my mom was like yeah, like shit happens. So I was like, what? Like I think, how old are you in 6th grade? Maybe not
like
10? 12? Yeah,
probably.
12. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're right. 12.
Or 12, yeah.
Because I was about 15, 16 my freshman year. So yeah, I would have been about 12. And I remember seeing that and just being like, wait, what? Like, and the reactions is what was traumatic to me. The reactions of the people watching it. They're like, oh, like a school shooting. Most
like a
people,
normal thing.
Yes. And then I was like, wait, what? Like, that's a fucking thing? People just kill each other at school? And they're like, yeah, but like it probably will never happen. And then the one happened in El Paso. And I'm like, Mom, this shit's gonna happen. Like it happened in Columbine, and now it's like it's happening in El Paso, which is close to where we're at. Like
you were
we're next.
living here?
Yeah, I was here.
Okay.
I think I was at Zia. And so I remember just being paranoid that I was gonna die in high school. And so like I went to school and they had like the career day people that came in like, I'm a nurse and I'm a this and you could be that too and I'm in the army. And I remember one of them asked me or they asked everyone, like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they kind of went around and asked the same thing. People were like, doctor, I want to be a veterinarian or whatever there was. And when they got to me, they're like, Will, what do you want to be? And I was like, alive. And I said, and everyone laughed, right? Yeah. The teachers got fucking pissed. And they were like, Will, like, because it was a sensitive subject, like that just happened. And so like they got mad at me, but I wasn't trying to be funny. Like I literally was like, I just want to be alive. Like I just want to make it through high school. Like I don't even like, I wasn't thinking about my future. I was literally thinking, hey, if I could just get through those 4 years alive, like I'd be cool with that.
You'd be fine.
But they got mad at me, and then they sent me to the office, and then I was like, what the fuck? Like, what did I do wrong? And I was already a class clown, and so I get it. Like, I was the weirdo
They were
that was
expecting for you to say something
yes,
stupid.
and so it's like, and obviously at the time when you're a kid and someone does that, like you're not understanding. You're more like, how fucking dare you? Like, I know I always joke, but I'm for sure not joking. So you're the like I remember getting mad at them, and they were like, well, we're gonna call your parents to pick you up. And I was like, good fucking luck. Like they don't even have a phone. They had a number, and I knew it wasn't gonna work. So I just chilled in the office till like the end of the day. And they're like, you like, no one can come for you. I'm like, I'm just a fucking kid. Like, you guys can't find my parents. I was like turning it around on them.
Wow.
What kind of school can't find a kid's parents? That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like, I ended up just staying the whole day there. And then they let me go at the end of the day when all the other kids got out. Cause I would just walk home. And they're like, but you're suspended. And like, just stay home. And so I did. And I guess they tried to like call again for my parents. And I just stayed home for 3 days, came back. My parents never even knew like that I was suspended. I think I would leave like if I was going to school. But I remember that's how like traumatic it was. And so like, I don't think I ever got that like excitement of like wanting a future, at least until I got to high school. And I realized it's not as scary as it is when you're fucking 12. That's why I think it's important for parents in general to like explain to people what's happening and not just go like, hey, some bad people did some bad stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think it's important for the parents to be like, hey, let me explain to you what happened. Let me explain to you why it happened. And we'll kind of talk about it if you have any questions, right? Because I think that was the weirdest part for me, was just having everyone be like, yeah, like it's just a thing. Like, it's good. Probably won't happen
Like,
to
just
you.
brush it off.
Yeah. Like,
That's crazy. I was thinking that you were going to say something like a police officer or even like a security guard for a school or something. You know, like just something like, let me stop this from happening.
I think I would have been a terrible security guard.
Well,
like after the story is what you're saying?
Yeah. So you're like, let me be a security guard so that I can stop this from happening in the future kind of thing. But yeah, I guess
sorry,
not.
I just want to make sure everything's working perfectly, which it may not be. I'm going to turn you up a little bit.
Yeah, if that top one's you, then
everyone's going. But yeah, so yeah, that was my whole thing. When did that go away? Like your whole heart surgeon thing?
I think I came down to reality probably middle of high school.
Okay.
Realized that I probably wasn't going to be a heart surgeon because I wasn't good at school. And then I still went in to try to go into the medical field when I first went into college, and then I couldn't pass chemistry.
That's an important one.
So, yeah. So I tried twice, and the best I got was a D. So I was like, all right, let's do something that I can actually do.
What'd you do? Or what?
Criminal justice.
So that's what you have your degree in, right?
Yeah.
And did you know that in high school that you were going to go for that?
Absolutely not.
No? And then what was your plan when you got it? Like, hey, I'm going to...
No, nothing. I was just like, I got to get a degree.
Because people want it?
Because people want it.
Yeah.
And it was something that I knew I could do, and it would be easy, and I was interested in it, so I just did it.
Was it easy, though?
Yeah.
It really was?
Yeah.
What? I knew a guy that had a criminal justice degree that was selling cars, and he would always tell me that, like... I think I worked with him like a year, and then he was like getting sick of it's like a common thing in the car sales world where people like, I think I'm like just gonna quit tomorrow or something. Yeah. And then I was like, are you, like, what are you gonna do for work? He's like, well, I have my degree, so I might go do. I'm like, what? You've been here for like a year, like you have a degree. Why aren't you doing something with it?
You can't.
That's what he was telling me.
Yeah.
He was like, if I can go back, I wouldn't have done that degree. Because first of all, I'm not really passionate about it. Second of all, like I make more money selling cars than I would with my degree. And he was a good car salesman. So, but I always thought that was weird. I'm like, I don't know if I could do something for 4 years and then not use it, though.
It was really just a way to get a degree and say I have a degree.
Yeah.
And it worked in my favor. You know, like now I can say if it says you have to have a 4 degree in pretty much anything, I can spin it. You know?
I feel like, do they check that shit?
I don't know.
I don't know if they do.
I don't know.
Because
I put yes, and I've never been asked for transcripts or anything. But
I've gotten a job putting that. I've gotten several jobs putting that, because I didn't graduate high school.
Right.
But I always put that I did. And I figured if they asked me about it, I'd be like, all right, you got me. Like, they just wouldn't go.
But they don't.
They never did. The one I have now, when I was applying for the job, they didn't want a degree, but they wanted diploma or GED. And I remember they asked for the transcripts, but I didn't have it. And so I went and got it like that week. Because I'd always felt like I would pass the test, but I just didn't want to study. And there's no point. I'm like, whatever, I don't need it. They keep accepting me anyways to all these jobs. But with this one, it was a really good job, and I didn't want to chance it. And so I was like, I just need to go get my GED already.
And
so
you did?
I did.
Okay.
And I just called them up, and I just took it on the spot. I didn't even study. And I remember thinking, like, I just hope, because I'm like, if I fail one, then I just have to retake that one.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm just going to take them all and just see what I did. And I passed all of them. Not like flying colors or anything. I sucked at math. but I got it. It came in the mail, but they still never asked me for it. I knew that I would have to submit it, and it said like submit here, and I just didn't submit it because I was waiting for it to come in the mail. They still hired me, and then it came in, and I remember calling HR like, "Hey, you need my GED?"
Because I finally have it.
They're like, "Nah, like it's all good, man."
I guess that means that it was something that was really important to you, you know?
Yeah,
that
no,
it was
finally
important. In a job that was important enough to get it, and so you got it, and that held your.
I think I just needed to feel. Yeah, I think that's what it took for me to actually get it.
Security.
To have a job worth it enough. Like, just in case I'm wrong, I don't want to move on from this job. Which is ironic because that's the job I still have, right? And I've worked there I've been in this field for 3 years and at this place for only a year just because the other company went out of business. But
right.
And I feel like I'm going to do it forever. So I feel like it was worth it. Whatever intuition that kept me from doing it with all the other jobs, I'm glad that I did it for this job because I think I'll be doing it for a while. Then I got certified and pretty much took off from there. But I think it was worth it. I forgot why we were talking about that, though. I feel like there's a reason.
We were talking about knowing what you're going to do.
Like when you get older? Or like, yeah. Yeah, so I didn't... you know what's funny is I think I always knew, because I do peer support for people listening that don't know. So essentially, you know this, but I work with people in recovery from drugs and alcohol, or that just have any sort of substance abuse issues or mental health, sometimes physical, but I'll specialize in behavioral health. But I knew I was going to do that because of my history in foster care, growing up in foster care, growing up in a group home, and just the things I went through. And then all the crap I went through afterwards, going to jail, been to rehab twice.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, neither of those.
So I didn't go to rehab twice. I said that wrong. I went to rehab once, but I have 2 suicide attempts. Not a lot of people know that.
No.
I promise you, because I'm a funny guy and I laugh a lot, and I always tell everyone the funniest guy in the room and the saddest guy in the room is probably the same person. And I truly knew that. But I went to. Do you mind if I tell you the story?
No, go ahead.
I went to rehab. Jesus Christ! I just turned 21 and I'm 30. I just turned 30, so 9 years ago.
Okay.
I moved to Midland. I had lost a relative. One of my foster families. My foster mom's sister, pretty much. So she's technically my foster aunt.
Yeah.
But it just sounds weird to say that. So, but she was the same age as me, and so when you say that, it sounds like an older woman. But she was like 2 weeks older than me.
Okay.
And so we got along really well. We're like really good friends, and she had passed away, and like I felt a lot of guilt for it here, and it was just a lot for me to handle. So I decided I was going to move to Midland. A buddy of mine was working in the oil field there. So he was telling me, hey, just come down, like you can get a job. I was working at IHOP here. He's like, just come work at the IHOP there, and eventually I'll get you into the oil fields. And I'm like, dude, my life fucking sucks here anyways. I was already pretty depressed. I was drinking every night, popping pills, just doing crazy shit. And so I'm like, you know what? I need a fresh start. And so I did. I moved with him to Midland. And I didn't really get a fresh start. I thought I did. This is what I learned, is that like you can't really run away from your problems. They just hit you way harder there. I thought I could go there and make new friends, which I did. But it doesn't matter. Like it eventually comes up, right?
Yeah.
So even though I was around nobody that even knew that part of my life, it still hit me hard to the point where I started. But not only that was I feeling bad, I also didn't have anyone to talk about it, right? Because I had like 2 friends, and they're like coworkers. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'll just drink by myself, and that's when that started. And I was drinking so much. My roommate started bringing home these Lortabs, these painkiller body numbers, because he worked in the oil field, and these guys do all kinds of shit. And I remember he had like a giant box of them, and he bought them for because he's making good money.
Wow.
I think he paid like $600 worth of all these pain pills, and he just put them on the counter. He's like, dude, I pop these all day, so if you get bored, you can take some. I was like, all right, cool.
Okay.
So I would drink, I pop some, they were fun, I pop more. It was to the point where I was popping like 6 to 8 at a time. I don't know anything about pills, so I don't know the milligrams or like...
Too much.
Way too much. To the point where I couldn't get off the couch, and I had to sit there for like a few hours to regain, because they're like muscle relaxer painkillers. So I had to wait until I could feel my arms and stuff again.
Wow.
But it was super relaxing, and I didn't feel any pain, so that was kind of cool. But I kept doing that. Like a lot. And then there's just one night where I just I call it a suicide attempt, but I didn't actually attempt to take my life. I knew that I wasn't going to live. I was talking to a friend on the phone, and I was like, hey, I'm just not doing good, and like goodbye kind of thing. And it wasn't dramatic, because I knew if I was dramatic that person would send someone, even though they were in Las Cruces, to come check on me there. And so I knew all that. The fact that I knew that and was trying to prevent it, for whatever reason, I felt like I had a weird moment where I was like, I really wanted to die, but I felt like deserve the opportunity to figure out why I feel that way. Oh, excuse me. And so I didn't actually do anything, but I did call the cops on myself. They came to my door and I said, hey, you guys got to take me somewhere. It was super fucking hard to get in, by the way. You would think they'd be like, you need help? Let me take you.
Yeah.
They're like, well, what are you on? And I would tell them, and they're like, well, we can't arrest you for being on stuff. You're at your house. I'm like, well, don't arrest me. Like, take me to a hospital. And they're like, oh, well, we stopped doing that because people were calling us for rides to the hospital. And I just remember thinking, like, well, you should fucking take them. Like, protect and serve. You forgot the serve part, right? You're just doing the protecting part, or whatever they want to call it. But it was super duper hard. I got there. They didn't want to take me. They took me to the ER. From the ER, they're asking me questions. Like, do you ever want to hurt yourself? Do you ever want to hurt me? Like, and it was just, I'd like yell at them. I'm like, I fucking, if you take me back home, like, I'm going to kill myself.
Wow.
And so they actually admitted me that night. And the best thing that happened to me in rehab, and I'm skipping around some stuff, but I realized that I'm not that crazy. Like, I remember thinking I had some issues, and I'm like, I'm never going to get over this. Like, I'm stupid. I keep doing all this stuff. But when I got in there, and I mean this in the most humble way, I was like, oh, I'm not messed up at all. You fucking guys are fucked up. Like, because there's crazy people in there. There's a sex addict that was, like, addicted to sex so much that if you weren't even interested in it, she would, like, assault you. Like, it was a crazy lady. There's, like, suicide attempt people. There's cocaine addicts. There was people with mental health, bipolar. Worse. Yeah.
Kind of puts you back in reality.
And I went to a group, like a group therapy session with maybe like 12 people there, and there was a girl there, and she thought she was like the queen fucking bee of rehab because it was like her 8th time that year. And she said that an older woman was talking about how she slit her wrists in her bathtub because her kids would like take all her money. And she was like opening up about it, and this one girl like laughs and said something, and I was, what the fuck's your problem? She was like, oh, she told that lady, oh, it's not like, don't act like you're never coming back here, or something like that, or something stupid. And I was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, because I related to me, and I'm like, you think you're fucking cool because you've been here a million times? Like, it just means you don't fucking, like, you're not trying at all. And then she told me the same thing. Don't act like you're not coming back. I was like, fuck no, you'll never see me here. I yelled at everyone. You fuckers are crazy. I will never see you guys in here ever again. You will never find me in here with you crazy bitches. Like, I just went off at her, which made me look pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But I meant it. Like, I went, like, I apologized to everyone afterwards. But people came up to me like, dude, I'm glad you told her something because I was going to. But yeah, I decided that day, I'm not fucking, like, I'm never coming back here. And so I started helping other people that were in there. I had to stay there for a week. When you check yourself in, they always say 72 hours in the movie. It was a fucking week. If you ever go to Texas, they'll make you wait a whole week.
That's the same here.
Is it? I always thought in the movies it's like,
or no, it's like 3 days.
It's usually
72
3 days,
hours.
right?
Yeah, here at one of the hospitals, I think it's a 3-day hold.
Yeah, but over there they made me stay a week. So I just spent like my last 4 days just helping the other people in there, and then that's when I decided when I got out, I'm like, hey, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna help people because I found way more joy in helping the people in there than I did, and I realized like this is what I need. I need a purpose, right? Yeah. I don't need to be feeling all this stuff. So that worked out when I got out. I wasn't like, everyone always asks like, how did you do it? Like, how are you not like as messed up as you used to be? I think I drank the day I got out again, so it wasn't like my whole life changed. I just started doing great. I think I went home that day and I like pounded 2 Four Locos and I made some drunk calls, and it didn't get better right away, but at least my mind was healthier to where I eventually decided that I want to do something other than that. And now I'm in a way healthier place, but that's my rehab story.
I never knew that.
Now you know, and now the world will know, and I'm cool with it. I'm very proud of it. When people ask me about it, I don't walk around just telling people about it, but when it comes up and it's relevant, I'll for sure tell that story.
Yeah,
just like it.
It's a success story.
Yeah. Do you have anything like that? Like either people you know, yourself, family, friends?
Yeah, I do. I don't know.
Nothing?
I do. I have a lot of addiction issues and stuff in my family.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before a little bit. We have very similar families in that way, huh?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's very it's very current. So
okay.
I don't know if I'm ready to. No,
that makes sense. I feel like every city or state should have like some sort of like peer support program where you can just have like a buddy. That's what someone asked me that once. Like, I want to start my own business. I would say that all the time. And they're like, well, what would your business be? I was like, I don't fucking know. I'm just going to start one. Yeah. And so I felt like stupid. And I was like, I need to come up with what to say to people because I do want to start a business, but I don't know what I would want. But I need to start somewhere as an idea and just figure out where it went. And I came up with the idea of like a hire a buddy. I don't know what I would call, but essentially like instead of a therapist or a counselor or like a Big Brother program, like how they have those. Your only job is just to be that person's friend, not to counsel them or anything. You just be their friend.
So you pay for a friend.
That's it. And it's like buy a friend.
It sounds bad.
But my business model would be billing Medicaid. So it's people with Medicaid, which means they're under the poverty level. Those are specific people I'd want to work with.
Okay.
And I wouldn't charge them, right? Because
True.
I would just be charging the state, which
but they have to make that decision, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, it would have to be like self-elected, I think.
Yeah, and with people with substance abuse issues or who are going through a crisis, sometimes they don't know that they need that right now.
That's
so
true.
It'd be cool if you could get something started to where the family could be like, hey, can you talk to this person and see if it would be a good fit for them?
Yeah, that's another part of it that we'd have to figure out for sure. Because I feel like the hardest part is they have to want it, right? And it's the same thing now. Like when I work with people, if they go, hey, I don't want to work with you, I don't make them. I go, cool, here's my number. Call me when you're ready. Because recovery and stuff like that only works when it's your idea. If I come to you and tell you how awesome it is, maybe you'll do it, but it won't be because you wanted to do it.
Right.
It'll be because you felt pressure for me to do it. Speaking of pressure, today my little brother, Josh,
yeah,
he got a job selling knives, like a call people up like, hey, I'm selling.
What's that company called?
Cutco.
Cutco.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was all excited. So he tells me the other day, like, hey, I need to do this demonstration. Do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, like I'll do it with you. It was a fucking nightmare. I hate that shit. I hate sales pitches. I hate it. But it's my little brother, so I wanted to help him out. But he came over and he was like showing me the knives and what they do. All right, but he was like super scripted. He was literally reading a script.
Oh no.
I was like, Josh, just talk to me, man. He goes, no, I want to read the script because I want to practice this stuff, which I appreciated. I'm like, you want to get all the info out? But he kept doing these statements where he'd be like, hey, cut's good, wouldn't you say? Like, it was like
no.
awkward. And I'm like, yeah, like, why are you talking like that? He was like, haha, okay. So, it's like really scripted.
Hopefully that's the reason why he went to you.
Yeah. Well, I was
with.
not his first one. But I ended up buying something from him because I wanted to support him.
You're a sucker.
But I am. I'm a sucker for my fucking little brother. I want to help him out. Sorry. But he did a demonstration with a rope where he was, and I'm like, Josh, you realize like I'm never going to use my kitchen knives to cut a rope. And he's like, well, I just want to show you how good it is. So he held the rope and he's like, let me get one of your knives. And I got a knife and I sawed away. It took a while. And he's like, well, watch, like use this knife. And it was a serrated knife. Mm-hmm. And it supposedly you should be able to like just pull once and it cuts to the whole thing, but it didn't. I put it and he's like, well, keep going. And so I started like sawing all crazy. And it like shredded the rope. No. He's like, pretty smooth cut, huh? Like he was reading the paper. I was like, no, Josh, that was like the worst cut in the world.
So what did you buy?
I not a knife because his presentation was shitty.
It's from a knife company. What
I told him at the end of it. Yeah. Well, this is where it goes. He goes, what? So are you interested in purchasing today? I said, no. He said, well, why not? I said, because I don't need any knives. I just bought knives. And I really did. I bought knives like a month ago. Mm-hmm. And he goes, okay, sounds like you're not into knives. Let me show you our pots. And so he starts, and then I'm like, dude, I don't need any pots. And he was like, well, we also have, and he did a good job. He kept selling me all kinds of stuff, not just knives. And so I literally told him, I was trying to find something that I would use because I was like, I want to buy something that I'll actually use eventually. Yeah. So I was like, what about shears? I need shears for cutting stuff down in the backyard. It was like $80 for like a little handheld one.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, no, like, Jesus Christ, Josh, like, this is so overpriced. Like, what's the cheapest thing you have? And it was like this little weed snipper. Like no one ever would cut weeds like by hand.
Yeah.
But it was like $25. So I was like, give me that shit. And that's what I ended up buying.
Oh, man. I didn't know that they sold stuff other than knives.
Yeah, they had like a whole little booklet. But he needs to work on his presentation for sure. I just hate those pitches. Have you ever been in a pitch before? Like any sort of sales pitch?
Yeah, my wife tried to do that for a bit.
She tried to did she do like a pitch on you?
Not Cutco, but she
Selling
was
knives?
doing, no. What was it called? It was like a vacation website. Have you heard of that? And it says, like, they hold up a blue sign that says,
yes,
you should be
I
here.
went to one of those too. I know exactly what if it is the same one. I went to one. Laura's friend brought me to one. And she couldn't tell me what it was. Was that how it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't tell you what it is,
just
but come over
yes.
and I'll show you this video.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you went to one of those?
My wife did it.
I know, but did you ever go to one? Like
just with her.
But did you help her out, or were you like part of the?
She invited people over, and I was like involved.
Were your friends that went?
No, I don't think so.
So you didn't have to feel like guilty for like.
No, it was mostly people that she worked with at the place she was working at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awkward because it was like, hey, secret club, come on in, and then she just put on this video, and then no one really bought anything. It sounds great if you're in the market for like vacations all the time. It sounds great.
The pitch, I remember thinking that. I remember thinking like, well, if that's the case, it's cool. But it's always like you got to get other people in order for yours to get cheaper. And then it was just
it's just a pyramid scheme.
And then I hate being asked. It's hard because I'm a salesman, right? And so I know what it takes to get a sale. But I also I'm not stupid. I know what I'm doing to these people when I'm trying to sell them a car because it's been done to me, and I hate it. And I'm not. You would think being a salesman, I know how to ask all the right questions. I could be sold super easy. They call them laydowns in the car business. Okay. When you get a laydown, it's like a customer that comes in and they're like, hey, I'm looking for this red Honda Accord. This is the stock number. You pull it up and they're like, all right, let's go look at the numbers. And you're like, and then they go, cool, I'll do it. And then you sign them and then they sign up.
So you already know what you want.
And they called it a laydown. So they'll be like, hey, how'd your sale go? Oh, it's a laydown. I didn't really have to do anything. They told me what to do and I just made it happen. That's how I am as a customer. Not in the sense of I come in knowing what I want, but I can be sold super easy. Okay. So I know when they go hey, does this look cool? And if it actually is cool, in my head I go, fuck, that is cool. And I get nervous because I'm I do want to buy it, but I know I shouldn't. And then they sense that and pounce.
You are going
yes,
to.
And then I feel like a fucking asshole. So I don't do good in those situations. So I try to avoid sales pitches at all costs. They do that in Vegas a lot. They're like, hey buddy, you want a free
timeshare?
You want a free $50 at our casino? Just come over here, and they try to sign you up. And they just grab you sometimes. They don't even ask you. I hate that shit.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either. I think it could work out really nicely if you got.
Do you know anyone that's ever gotten one though? That actually bought it?
No, the only success that we saw was the dude that recruited Ceci.
Mm-hmm. But did you see him have success, or he just said he did?
I mean, you could see all the pictures of him going on all these trips and making all this money,
I feel like that's how they get you, though.
Yeah, because he probably just had a bunch of backdrops, and was like, here I'm in Cozumel. Or maybe he did. Maybe he did.
Just to take the
maybe
pictures.
It worked for him,
Yeah.
But it didn't work for us.
No.
Yeah.
Did she ever sell any?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't think so.
No.
I think she gave up.
Do you remember how she got paid? Was it you have to do a certain amount to get...
You have to sell them to get paid.
So she didn't get paid at all, maybe?
I don't think so.
That's crazy. Because usually sales jobs will have a draw. Not all of them. I did one for card readers where I was going business to business trying to sell them card readers. Mm-hmm. But I did it for 3 months and I didn't make any money. I wasted money driving to El Paso and doing all this stuff and buying new clothes. And
you're paying into a company to do stuff. And
yeah, but they show you the pay plan. All you got to do is get 3 people to do it.
And then they get 3 people each.
And then the residuals. So if you quit today, you get your residuals for up to 5 years. Mm-hmm. So if I were to sign up a business... 3 businesses, I get a % of every swipe that they do. It's a very small %, but considering how many customers come in every day and over a long period of time,
and then
it
3
adds
businesses,
up. Yeah. Yes, and then they said even if you quit, you get your residuals for 5 years after the sale. So my idea was I'm going to kill it for a year and quit, and then just rack up that residual and just do this.
Did you get any?
No. You know what's funny is I did get one, and I didn't even it didn't go through. I got my dad's company, and again just to help me out.
Yeah.
He decided to switch over to our reader. I submitted the paperwork, and my boss said I did something wrong, asked me to re-get it. But it took him a month to tell me that. So by the time he sent it back to me, and my dad would hit me up hey, where's our card reader? I'm oh, it should be on the way. By the time he let me know, I think the next day or a few days later, I quit. Mm-hmm. And so I did get one sale, but it didn't go through. So I made $0. Yeah. And then I just stopped going. It was a weird job because it was all telephonic. I never met a person. It was all over the phone trainings and stuff. It was really weird.
We went somewhere for that other one. We went to some sort of conference. I can't even remember where we went. But we went to, I want to say we went to Austin or Dallas or something. We were living in San Antonio at the time. Mm-hmm. And we went to Austin or Dallas and went to an actual conference and saw all these people who were doing really well and making a bunch of money and going on all these trips and stuff. And
that's how they get you, huh?
It looked great. Yeah. But it didn't work out.
Yeah, I don't like going to them. I like sales. I don't know if I do it again. But I do think that working in a business where you do sales is some of the best skills you can get because it teaches you how to interact with people.
Right.
It teaches you how to understand, to listen, and to respond to what they're saying because they're giving you the info on how to sell them.
Yeah.
But if you're in your head thinking about other things and you're you'll totally miss that out. I made that mistake a lot when I first started selling cars where I would just say, I thought lying would be helpful because I'm I'll just make shit up. I'm never going to see them again. And I sold a guy a car that didn't have cruise control. because in my head I went, what kind of car doesn't have cruise control? And at the time, these really, really basic Hyundais that we're selling didn't have cruise control.
Oh, man.
So he had specifically asked me, does this have cruise control? I said, yeah. I sold it to him, and it turns out he's like a regular commuter to El Paso, which is like an hour drive. And he goes, hey, man, I can't find the cruise control. Will you like show me where it's at if I go in? I'm like, yeah, come on in. And I told a buddy, and he goes, dude, those don't have cruise control. And I was like, what? And like an idiot, like he came back, and I'm like, oh, it should be where? It doesn't seem to. Let's look down. Like I knew it wasn't in there, but I spent like 20 minutes. Like that's strange,
trying to
man.
convince him that it did.
Yeah, and he ended up what they call unwinding the car. He's like, I just played dumb, and then my boss ended up sending a different salesman out. Like that guy's new. Like let me help you out.
Oh man.
And they unwinded the car, which means they took it back because it was like in a 15-day window, and then that other salesman resold him a car.
And then he got the commission or
he got everything. I got nothing.
Oh
yeah.
Man.
And so that taught me like be honest with yourself and just like fix it, right? Because I could have fixed it. I could be like, hey man, like, I found out they don't let me switch you into a new car, which that other guy did, but I kind of just bitched out and didn't do it. And so I lost money.
You could have fixed it yourself.
Yeah, I lost time and money, and that's time I could have been selling another car, and I got nothing for it. So little things like that, you start learning like just how to interact with people. That it's okay to tell them that you don't know. That's some of the best sales like men in the world would do that. Hey, I actually don't know that, but let me write that down. I'm going to find out for you. They just want to know that you care.
That's like a big deal in life too.
Exactly my point.
Like even as a supervisor, as a child, just anything. If someone asks you something, don't pretend like you know it or don't blow smoke.
I think fake it till you make it's important because it gets you places. But there is a limit, right?
Yeah.
You can't just like. There's a difference between faking it and just making shit up.
Right.
Faking it is acting like you're confident in what you're talking about. But if someone calls you out on it and you don't know, it's also okay to be like, hey, I actually don't know, but I can find out. But that works like in almost, like you said, being a manager, doing anything.
Yeah. My best friend says that I'm the best BSer that she knows.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would she say that? Did you BS
I guess because, I mean, she asked me something and she doesn't know the answer to it. And I wouldn't tell her, like, I don't know. I would just give her some random answer, and then she'd be like, that sounds about right. But then she'd find out later that it wasn't right.
So you never said just kidding at the end or anything?
No, because I just have a sarcastic attitude, you know?
Yeah.
And
do you say it like straight face?
Yeah.
And then
I'm like, it's because the Earth is orbiting around Jupiter right now, and the meteors are...
I'm a sucker for that shit, too, though. When people do that, I go, oh, like, that makes sense. And then like, I have a friend that does that.
Yeah,
right.
Like the other day, my wife, someone came into her office, and they were like, oh, be careful tonight. The sun is going to start raising from the west instead of the east, just so you know. So you're no longer going to have the sun in your face in the morning anymore. My wife's like, oh, okay. She comes home and she's like, hey, guess what? And I'm like, nah, it's bullshit. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she said it's something about the winter solstice. And I was like, I don't know much about the winter solstice, but I do know that the sun is still going to fucking come up over those mountains.
Yeah.
And so we started looking into it and talking. She's like, maybe they said something different. She tried to play it off, but...
It's always east to west, but I do notice that it tilts
a little bit more.
Yes,
yeah,
because when I would sell cars, there's the sun would hit a certain angle, and then different parts of the year it would... Because it's over a mountain.
Right.
So certain parts of the year would get darker earlier.
But really, the way she understood it, I believe she understood that
like
it was...
the Earth started switching.
The Earth fucking went upside down or some shit. And she told me that's exactly how I understood it anyway. That she told me, hey, it's coming up on the other side tomorrow, so be ready. And I'm like...
you just told her, like, that's not real.
That's not true. Look at it. No. Never in my 28 years has it come up on the other fucking side. Take a look.
That's not good. But if you said it really fast, I can see how you'd believe it. Like when you say it, like it's like, oh, that's crazy. But then like give it 2 seconds, I go, wait, that like kind of what you said. That's for sure impossible, right?
And I'm sure they were saying like, hey, it's gonna come up in a different area like of the mountains or whatever. But the way she explained it to me was like, it's coming up over there.
Laura, one time, I don't think she'll care about this story. She
find out.
She likes to go to like concerts a lot, and so when people post up on Facebook like so and so's coming to El Paso or Cruces or Phoenix or something, she'll get all excited. And she tells me one day someone posted this thing up, and it's like a lineup, and it's like this thing, and she goes, "Hey babe, do you think this is real?" And like she shows me the lineup, and it started off normal, like the headliner was like Lil Wayne and Gucci Mane, and then it starts going down, and it says Paul Walker's hologram. Like it got like ridiculous, and then like one of them was like it was like Donald Trump, like it was like weird stuff that for sure wasn't going to be there, And I just looked at her and laughed because I thought she was like playing with me. And she goes, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Are you fucking serious right now?" Like, there's no way like Paul Walker's hologram is gonna like. Did you read this? I started reading all the names. I wish I remember the other ones because they're so obviously not real.
Yeah.
And she like started laughing. She's like, "Yeah, I guess like when I think about it, like it's for sure not real."
Oh.
But she fell for it. So to this day, I always tell her like when she's like, "Oh, so and so's coming," I'm like, "Do you think they're gonna have Paul Walker's hologram?" And she's like, "Shut up."
It's crazy what you'll believe when.
If it looks legit and it's online, you're more likely to believe that shit.
Yeah.
I know better. But I for sure fallen for some stuff, and so now I don't repost or talk about anything unless I check it.
Right.
Because someone posted, one of my friend's moms posted like "Rest in peace, Keanu Reeves" or something, and I almost like shared it, and then I go, "Wait, what the fuck? Like, he died like for real?" So I Google it, there's nothing, and so I'm like, so whatever she found, which looked like a real post, I like. Before, thank God I didn't share it. Like, just commented on there. I'm like, "Hey, this isn't real." And then, of course, everyone else is like, "This isn't real." And so she's like, "Oh," and deleted it. But thank God I would have posted it, and then afterwards, look like an idiot.
I think there is something that I posted. I try to do that too, but there is something that I posted. Can't even remember what, so probably shouldn't even be bringing it up. But I posted something, and I was like, "Oh, I posted yesterday." I said, 49ers or Seahawks? Who do you guys think? And I'm like, they weren't even playing each other.
But did you know that?
No.
You thought they were playing?
I was wrong. Yeah. I thought it was a 49ers and Seahawks, not the 49ers and Texans. No, who was it?
No.
49ers and...
They played the Vikings.
Yeah.
But I thought it was the Seahawks as
yeah,
well.
So I posted and I was like, 49ers or Seahawks, what do you guys think? And I was like, oh shit, no one commented. Delete. I'm a piece of shit.
That's funny. Yeah, I see that all the time. That's the day we live in, though. That's where we get our news from. And so it's so easy to start a rumor just by posting something.
Yeah, but I don't like to do that. That's
you
not
don't
my.
like
I'm
it.
not like. I'm not that type of person. You know.
Yeah,
I
not
like
a poster.
To be factual, and I like to be like only put what's necessary, kind of thing, or whatever's funny. Like I give my wife a lot of shit, but
funny stuff is always good. I always post sports stuff. The last thing I'm going to do is hop on there and tell people how sad I am. I feel like that's like a pretty common thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to journal on Facebook.
I think maybe if it's like a real thing, right? Like a death, you're allowed to post about that, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. But if it's like, I have a friend, and I obviously won't say their name, that will always post, and it's like cryptic. Can't believe this happened. Worst day ever. And that's all it'll say.
But then people will be like, what happened? They'll be like,
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. Or message me. Message me and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And it's like 4 different comments. Message me.
Yes,
message
it's
me.
terrible. But the amount of people that always respond to those things always fucking blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't know yet. Like, they're doing it on purpose, right? And so like I don't write it all.
They're getting the attention. You're giving them what they want.
Yes, and maybe, and then sometimes they do write on the comments what it was, and it's not that fucking crazy. It's like, my fucking tire popped and my brother had to change it. I'm like, what the fuck? You have a good brother. That couldn't have been
like your main post, like, bro, today my tire popped.
You can just say that, yeah. Crazy, got over it. Thanks, bro.
You don't have to bait people. Yeah, I just block those people.
Do you?
I don't think I've ever blocked anyone. Unfollow them.
Because you can be their friend and not see their posts, right?
Yeah, that's what I do is unfollow them if they're too much.
Have you ever blocked anyone on any sort of social media?
I blocked someone today.
Was it fucking me?
I just didn't know I just didn't know who they were, and they were friend requesting me.
A girl or a guy?
A girl. And you know how they have like one picture, they don't have any posts. All their posts are from yesterday and today. You know?
So someone created it to fuck with you, probably?
I think so.
Yeah.
And we had one friend in common, you know, and I was just like, no, you're not getting me today, Amy. And I just...
Wait, is it the same person, though? Is that why you blocked him?
I didn't know who they were.
I guess why would you just not accept it?
Because I check shit out first. Like, I'm not just gonna... Like,
is your account private?
No, I don't think so.
You should just make it private.
I don't make friends... No, I'm okay with denying people. I'm okay with that, you know? Like... I don't want to be friends with someone that I don't know. You know, I'm not going to be friends with a random person.
Would you, though, if you were single and it was a really hot girl?
Probably not.
I think I would.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But
I've been in a relationship for so long that maybe I wouldn't, but I feel like I would. Like, at least the old me before I was in a relationship.
What if you look at it and you're like, for sure, this is a bullshit account, you're still gonna
Yeah,
accept it.
no, for sure not.
And hope that it's not.
So let's say it's not, though,
crazy
because you're right.
Snaggletooth dude behind it or something.
Yes, let's say you're right. Because if you look it up and there's like one friend and or like maybe even like 10, even like 100 friends to me is like still pretty low, and low enough to be like, this is weird. They maybe just added a few people just so it looks so. So I for sure wouldn't there. But if it was like a really good looking girl and I was single, and we had maybe like 10 or 12 friends in common, she had a full list of people, I think I might do it.
Okay.
Would you?
In that situation,
if you were single and it was like
probably.
It's weird how that works though. What if same exact situation? It looked like a real account. You had a few friends in common, but it wasn't an attractive girl.
It don't matter.
Would you still add her?
Yeah, because I feel like for some reason she feels like she knows me, or I know her, or we have something in common. You wouldn't?
I'm calling myself out on
Shallow
this.
as fuck.
I am shallow as fuck when it comes to that, because there's something weird about it. Like, and I'm just being honest. I'm not saying I'm proud of that, but I feel like we were talking about this in the last podcast. If you're an attractive person, you get away with extra shit for whatever goddamn reason by both men and women. It's the same thing. Like, less with men to other men.
Okay.
I think so. It's just my opinion. But for sure it happens, like in general. Like if someone's better looking, they just seem to get like a different kind of treatment, I think. I know I treat people differently like that. But then again, it's not like, not in a shallow way. I definitely don't do it now, but it's just weird. I just noticed that in society. Like if there's a show about that where they do a girl getting kind of not abused, but like talked to roughly at a restaurant.
Okay.
And they film it. And they do it with a less attractive girl and then like a really attractive girl. And the less attractive girl, people fucking mind their own business. The hotter girl, like all these dudes stood up like, hey man, you can't talk to her like that.
That's fucked up.
And so it is fucked up, but it's for sure a real thing. We can't deny that. Like there's, for whatever reason, like it just hits you a different way.
Yeah.
So anyone that says those things don't matter, they for sure matter. They shouldn't matter, but unfortunately they do.
That makes me think I think that there's a thing between men and women as well, right? So say like a bunch of guys are shooting the shit and talking shit to each other, and they're talking back and forth and calling each other names, or digging on them, ragging on them for something and joking with each other. But as soon as a girl speaks up, they'll just be like, ooh. They won't really be like, well, you're a slut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the guys would laugh.
That's very true. That does happen.
But they wouldn't do that. And that's what happened with me a lot. We're at the job that we worked at together.
Yes.
There was a lot of supervisors that were
I feel
males.
like we can say the name because it's not even the name anymore.
Okay, RDD.
Yeah, it was RDD.
Yeah, so when
Plus
we were
I said it in the last podcast.
Okay, cool. So when we were working there, like I was with a bunch of male supervisors. So Marty and Frankie and all these guys,
so
right?
They weren't your supervisors. They're other supervisors because you were a supervisor.
Yes, right. So we were, all supervisors, and they would talk a lot of crap. You know how they are.
Yep, I remember them.
So they would be talking to each other, and you're a loser, and this and that. And then as soon as they would be going back and forth for hours. And then as soon as I was like, oh, well, Frankie this, Frankie that everybody would be like, ooh, but they would never be like, and Riki, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They would never talk back to me.
It just carried more weight, though.
I wonder what it was, if it was because I was a woman.
That had to have been part of it. What would be your guess if you had to diagnose that situation?
I guess, yeah, because that's what I've always chalked it up to.
Yeah.
Because I'm a woman, or maybe they respected me a little bit more.
I think it was both.
Than each other.
They for sure respected you. But I'm trying to think of a time where that's happened to me. I feel like there's something extra burny about a girl that clowns on a guy. When you're a guy doing it to another guy, you got to be on it. Because you say something like, dude, that's stupid. Like, you're not that funny. Like, guys will call other guys out.
Yeah.
But a girl, you can also say something stupid and get called out. But the bar's lower. Like, if a girl says something that's, like, kind of funny, where it would normally be, like, the right amount of funny, for whatever reason, it's extra, extra funny. Because it's like, not only did you get burned, but you got burned by a girl. But do you think it's the same way when girls do it to other girls? I
was just thinking about that as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think I get a lot of slack. I really do, and maybe it pushes me. It allows me to be a little bit more like sarcastic and
really
crass than I really should be.
Yeah.
But I feel like I get a lot of slack, even my job right now. Like I will
coworkers?
I'll tell people what I think, and I'll tell them to their face. And sometimes people, when they're talking to each other, they're like, they get all hurt or whatever. And I recall at least one time where I said something and my coworker was just like, only you could get away with that. Like, only you could get away with saying something like, because I'm not saying it. I don't know if they know that I'm not saying it to be hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just saying it because it's honest. Or what?
Can you give me an example?
I wish I could.
What did you say?
I don't remember.
I feel like that matters.
I
don't
know.
think you've ever crossed the line. I know what you're talking about because I've seen you clown about stuff, but I don't think I've ever seen you cross the line with anyone. And so it's always kind
I know
of
that I
funny.
say things, and it depends on the person too, right?
Yeah.
Like 99% of the time, if I say something that's like even slightly fucked up,
Yeah.
my wife is gonna be like, babe, like you went way too far, whereas you would probably be laughing, you know?
Yeah, I'd for sure be
And so it depends on who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the times, like, I feel like I just get away with shit.
Yeah, you probably do. You should start trying to like keep a mental log of it, and then so the next time you come on, you can be like,
Yeah,
all right,
I'll have to.
These things
I try not to though. Like I try to keep this.
I feel like you should just do it if that's who you are. I feel like I get away with a lot of stuff too, but I know my audience, kind of like what you're saying. Like I don't joke with anyone. If I have rapport, the hard part is if someone doesn't know I have rapport with that person.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm just being a fucking asshole.
True.
But the people that know, they're always like, oh, that's just Will. That's just how Will is.
Well, and I say stuff too, and then I immediately start backpedaling.
Yeah.
Always, because I'm like, oh crap, like how could this have been perceived? And I'm always like, shit, like try and
do you do that
pat
instantly
it,
or like
yeah,
really?
instantly. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to, what their reaction is, for the most part. Unless like if it was you, that's one thing, but
I think you would know if I cared. I don't think you've ever said anything that hurt my feelings, by the way.
That's good.
And so yeah, but I also think it's really hard to hurt my feelings because even if you did say something to intentionally hurt my feelings, I just don't know if it would work. Because I'm like, I started realizing that recently. I'm like kind of like I'm very witty. Again, I say this humbly. I'm not saying I'm any better than anyone else. But I got bullied a lot when I was a kid.
Okay.
So I got really, really good at like comebacks to the point where I'd stay at home and I knew I had like a shitty haircut. This is back when I had hair, of course. I had like a bowl haircut and I would always wear these fucking Hawaiian shirts and they would like bully me at school.
You still do.
Do I have a Hawaiian shirt though?
I think you do. If not,
I
was going to buy you one.
I don't have hair and I don't have a Hawaiian shirt.
I was going to buy you a Hawaiian shirt for your birthday.
I would wear it because I don't care now.
My wife, that's all she was looking at for you was
Really?
Hawaiian shirts, and she ended up getting that Hawaiian hat.
I actually love that hat, by the way. Cool. And I'm waiting to see what I want to wear it with. I've worn it around the house. I haven't worn it out. I'm going to wear it in the podcast. I just don't know. I want to wear it with like a cutoff. I feel like it's
or just something plain.
Yeah,
because the hat makes enough statement that
true.
You don't really need.
I could probably wear it with one of the cutoffs that you got me.
In the summer.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll use it the most for. What was I saying though? Oh, the shirt. And like, so like, I would get made fun of a lot. So, but I was poor. I couldn't afford a haircut and I couldn't afford any other shirts besides the ones I had. And so I remember thinking like, all right, this is how logical I am even as a kid. I'm like, all right, like, I just need to sit down and come up with some things to say because it's not like they're going to catch me off guard. Like I know what they're going to say.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're going to call me gay because there's flowers on it. They're going to make fun of my haircut. They're going to say I look like a girl because I had long, like, golden hair. Like, I had, like, super blonde hair. Which is weird because my facial hair is red, so everyone assumes that I'm a redhead. I'm not a redhead at all. I had blonde hair.
I think you had hair when I met you, though.
Yes, I did have hair. That's how long we've been friends.
Yeah.
I've been shaving it for, like, the last 6-7 years. I did have hair, and it's like a dirty blonde. But it's not
like
red
your
at
eyebrows.
all. Yeah, exactly. And so I had... but. Obviously, I didn't have a beard when I was younger, but so I had like golden hair. They would make fun of me. They'd call me like all kinds of names. So I would just sit down and I would write, if they say this, I'm going to say this.
Oh.
And I came up with all these witty comebacks. And they just had them on deck. And so like when people would be like, oh. Like,
would you pull out the card?
No. How dirty would that have been? I'm like, oh yeah?
Ha ha, insert wink. Bet you wish you could have this flower, boy.
Look threatening. You don't actually have to fight him. Look threatening.
Oh, no.
No, I would for sure memorize it. But I just had all these punchlines ready. And then I just started doing that with everything. Like later on in life, if I knew I had terrible hygiene because of the home I grew up in, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't teach me all that stuff. We literally at points didn't have the ability to take showers. We were homeless at certain points. And so I knew it. Instead of being sad and letting people hurt my feelings, I'm like, all right, if someone says I say I look smelly, then I got to make fun of their mom or something. Like I would just have something on deck to do. So I started doing it with everything. And so I got really, really good at it. And so in a way, it was like a defense mechanism, but it kind of sucks because now as an adult, that's just embedded in me.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good to hurt a little bit. I think it's good for things to be so important that someone says something to you and you're like, ouch, like that kind of fucking hurt a little bit.
And not have a comeback.
Yeah, and just kind of accept it. Like, Jesus Christ. Like I think that I have a hard time doing that because I always have something to say back that I forget that it's hurtful. So other people will tell me like, dude, it's fucked up that he told you that. And I'm like, no, it's him. Like, dude, if my friend told me that, we wouldn't be friends anymore. But in my head, I'm like, why don't I feel that way? I always ask myself,
Yeah.
that's a friendship ending kind of comment. And I'm like, no, but I never even had time to soak it in because I just said something back and moved on.
I think a lot of us have those coping mechanisms, though. I think there's a lot of, because like I said, I talk a lot of shit and I'm very sarcastic with people, but never has anyone been like, I'm sure I've hurt someone's feelings.
Yeah.
At least once.
Maybe.
You know? At least once.
Maybe you literally
no,
have it.
I believe I have.
You think so?
Yeah.
You gotta
But
make
why
amends.
if I could remember who it was, you know? But it's like
ask
all
all
the
your
time.
friends, "Hey, I
just
ever
walk down
offended
the
you real
street. You mad? You mad? You know?
Before we go to this club, did I ever fucking piss you off?
And
at any
I've done
point?
that before too.
Really?
Like I've gone back and like, hey, when I was talking about whatever, did I upset you? Because that wasn't my intention. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
But I feel like I probably have. And if I have, they have never told me.
Maybe. Do you think? All right. So one of two things would have to have happened, right? Either you didn't upset anyone, or do you think anyone's intimidated of you, and so they're like, oh, I just can't tell her because
I hope not.
I think she'll just say something mean again.
I hope not.
What if you're
I'm
like
not
a
like
closet
a bully.
What if you are though? Like,
No.
You're a closeted bully. You're
don't-
like, I'm not a bully. You're like in bully denial.
Like I probably, okay. I would say like my brother would probably consider me a bully.
But that it's family doesn't count. Those people
Okay.
automatically get thrown out.
But other than that, no, I don't
think
feel
you're a
like
bully at
I'm
all.
a bully.
Maybe it's just the way you carry yourself, because maybe you're saying certain people can say certain things, and it's like, but if someone else had the same exact thing, then maybe it would be bullying. Maybe you just have that personality where you can say things like that, and people genuinely know. Maybe you convey it through like the way you enunciate, the way your body language and stuff, where
Like
they
that I have
know
good
it's
intentions.
not. Yeah, so you can say some fucked up shit, and they're like, no, she meant it good. She's like she's just joking with me, even though she didn't say she was joking at the end of it. That could be a thing.
I don't know. I just wish that I wish there was like a meter, you know, like Sims, over top of their head, which be like, rubbed me
You're
the wrong
losing
way.
this relationship, Ricky.
It's down in the red. You need to give them 5 compliments to make up for that last comment.
That's funny. It's
Yeah.
Have you ever do you play games at all? Like video games?
Video games, not so much.
No. Have you ever?
Yeah.
Did you ever play Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah.
And have you ever played Red Dead Redemption?
No.
If you ever get bored, the reason why I asked about Grand Theft is the same exact creators, Rockstar.
Okay.
They made a game called Red Dead Redemption, and it's essentially Grand Theft Auto, but in the Western. Like you ride a horse,
Oh.
and like you can literally do anything you want in the game. You can go
That's
around,
cool.
like throw people off a bridge. There's alligators, there's bears, there's like you can go to a bar and get wasted. So it's like a real world kind of thing. There's missions, but I don't even do the fucking missions. I get so
It's the same thing as Grand Theft
yes,
Auto.
you
just go
think
around
you're
and
gonna do
kill
a
people.
mission, and then and then the cops are chasing you. So in the other game, there's outlaws and stuff, but it's literally there's a meter, and through over the whole life of you playing the game, if you do good deeds, you become like a good guy, or you become like a super like evil outlaw where you're wanted everywhere. So the more bad stuff you do, you trend that way. But the game's so realistic that if you start like if you're walking by and there's like a guy on a horse and you shoot him with like a bow and arrow like real quick just because you're fucking bored, like your thing will go like towards the bad side a little bit. And at first it doesn't move that much, but eventually the game's so realistic, the characters in the game will start treating you differently if you have in the red. Like
You're a
they'll
bad
charge you
guy.
more at the stores, like all that stuff. They'll like people will try to rob you more often.
I feel like that's what we need.
a video game or to be robbed.
That's what we need in life.
Like a
is
meter.
those meters, and the better person you are,
That's actually a good point.
the better life you have. The
But what do you
easier
think?
life-
Would you feel bad for the shitty people?
No.
Let's say someone got a really bad meter, and then so they can only live in like an area of town where other bad meter people live.
Then change your life around and you can come over to the good side.
That's true.
Assuming that I'm going to be on the good side.
Yeah, I think I'd be in the middle. I feel like, or I think I'd slightly be like to the good side.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't feel like I do evil stuff, but I definitely am not the best person I could be. But I don't want to.
I don't know. It depends on what the
That's interesting though. A meter.
indicator is, you know?
That would be funny. A little meter of that would definitely make dating easier if you're single and you could just kind of, you know, because you're always trying to figure out if the guy's an asshole or if the girl's a slut or something. I get, but that's the thing though, is there wouldn't be, there'd have to be a
I'm going
separate.
to catch
slut
you
meter.
on that right there.
On what?
Why is the guy an asshole but the girl's a slut?
Damn, I did do that. Huh?
Yeah, you did.
I feel like that's what guys are interested in though. I don't think a guy's ever been on a date. That's why I said it. I don't think a guy's ever been on a date and thought, I wonder if she's an asshole. I think most guys go, I wonder, like, if she's been around a lot or if she's in here for a relationship. But with girls, because guys are assholes but cover it up, it's a manipulative thing. Guys will pretend they're cool, girls will like him, and then they'll be like, oh, this guy's really an asshole. So they're trying to figure out, is this guy an asshole or not? Do you think, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you think girls go on dates and try to figure out how much of an asshole the other person is?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't been on a date in so long.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been on a date. Like a
formal date.
Yeah.
No.
Me and Laura, like, when we got together, we didn't actually go on a date. I remember one time she was like, "You should take me on a fucking date," and like we just went out, like we did go on
7 years later.
but it wasn't like a planned kind of like, "Hey, do you want to go out with me?" But prior to her, I don't think I've ever been on like a traditional date with a girl. It's always been like met them, we hung out or did something, or you know what I mean.
I tried once
To go on a date.
Yeah.
With who?
Some girl in high school.
An ex.
Yeah. No, some random girl in high school, and she fucking shot me down. And so I was like, dating is not my thing.
How did you ask her though? Were you all weird about it?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking weird of it.
I don't know. She thought it was weird, but it just like.
How did she turn you down?
Very vulgarly. Is that a word?
It is now. Is it was it just you two, or did she have friends?
I did it. So I am not a very in your face kind of person.
Okay.
And this was before, I mean, texting was around, but it wasn't really around the way it is now.
Yeah.
So we were in high school, and I left a rose on her car, on her windshield.
Bold move.
And I put on there pretty much like, "Hey, go on a date with me."
Is it like you put a note?
Yeah.
Like a folded note?
Yeah.
You weren't scared that someone else was going to walk by and get the note and like...
Well, it might have worked out better if they had.
Because
she literally was like, "You're a stalker because you know what car I drive. And no, I'm never going to go on a date with you." And like...
I kind of agree with her.
Really?
Not that you're a stalker, but if you would have done that to me in high school, I would have felt like, why do you know my car and why do you leave a rose? It's weird. I think you watch too many fucking movies. That's what it is.
Guess
if I had
so.
to guess.
Back
because
then.
in the movies, that's always like, oh, and the people watching, I'm like, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
But I always tell myself that wouldn't work in real life, and this is proof of it.
Yeah.
So she thought it was like kind of creepy.
I'm glad it happened when I was like a sophomore. Because you got that out of the way. But yeah,
I feel like I've done some stuff like
I feel like that was like the last conversation we ever had.
Was she into girls?
Yeah.
And so, okay. So she just literally just thought the gesture itself was fucking weird. Wow. I feel like I wouldn't get like that. I would hope that I
feel like
wouldn't.
there was
Maybe I would
another
have in high
reason.
school though.
You know, like there was another reason behind it. Like
were you
she
doing
wasn't
creepy
feeling it.
stuff?
No, like I feel like maybe she wasn't feeling it anyway. And so she just was like, because we had been talking a little bit before that. Mm-hmm. So when I made that gesture, then she was like, "Nah, you're a stalker." You know.
Well, this is less creepy. So I get what you're saying.
It wasn't just a random chick.
I didn't think it was random, but I didn't know that you had talking to her first.
Yeah.
So you guys were like friends.
Not friends, but we had a couple conversations, and I was like,
yeah,
like,
okay.
I might want to date with this girl. And so it was a gesture like, "Hey,
yeah."
If
Now,
you're
now I think that broad was just kind
a little
of rude.
less creepy.
Yeah, she was.
She
rude.
like she wasn't feeling it.
Because you could say that nicely, right?
Yeah, she could say, "Hey, thanks so much for the rose, but you're not my type."
Yeah, I take back my comments. I think she could have been nicer. I was thinking you were just like, "I think she's cute. I'm gonna write it and then like take off and she'll find it and reach out to me."
No, I mean I
didn't know you
did
knew
do
her.
that. I did put that
Did
on
you
her
leave like
card.
a phone number on there or something?
No, I like just put Riki.
How did she reply to you?
She told me in person.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, "You're a fucking creeper." You know? Like, I feel like it was really like a lot. It was like super, like, I feel like she had something to tell me before this and didn't work up the courage, or she just didn't.
Do you know this person still?
Yeah.
Do you think you would ever ask?
No.
Like, why were you so
I've
rude?
never talked to her since then. Like, honestly, like, she's like the person I'm like, I don't want anything to do with you.
Is she
like,
not a good person now?
I don't know. Like, okay, so do I know her now? No. Like, I see her pop up on Facebook every now and then. I'm like, ugh.
So you know she's still like around kind of thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And like still dating girls, is here in Las Cruces. I see her pop up here and there, but we've never had a conversation since that day.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
I feel like you should talk to her one day.
Just one day, just message her or whatever.
Yeah, or no, definitely don't message. Have you
Just
not learned? Girl, I'll just leave a note on her
Just go
fucking
put a
car.
note on her car. Be like,
I'm sorry
what was the
for
problem?
that time I left a note on your car.
What was the problem? No, I don't know.
How funny would that be though if you did that? She's like, again, Riki with the fucking notes on my
Again,
car.
you fucking stalker. No, I don't know.
This time leave a potato instead of a rose. Just
I've
to
never
throw her off.
actually run into her since then. And even if I were to run into her, I don't think I would go up to her and be like, "So
I
what
think
the
you
fuck?"
should though. I think it'd be a fun story.
No.
With no intentions, right? Literally just say like, "Hey, like, remember when that happened? Were you just like, was that like your genuine like response, or were you saying that because you felt like you had to?" Just to know, like no one owes anyone anything, and maybe your life 100% your life will go on just fine if you never talk to her. But if you ever do, I think it'd be cool if you did ask her, just to know.
I don't know.
All right, I'm just saying.
Not feeling comfortable.
I'll tell you a funny story. I think I was in 5th grade. It was at Valley View Elementary School here in Las Cruces. And there, I was not popular. If you haven't got the trend from my stories, I had a high school up until maybe my sophomore or junior year. I got really popular because of basketball. Prior to that, pretty terrible. So my elementary school was terrible, and I was not. I was not popular. I definitely no girls liked me. I didn't get invited to like birthday parties. I wasn't like I was not cool at all. Okay. And there's this girl I really liked. Her name was Amber, and she so she later on in life I actually ran into her again, and she's actually into girls now, which makes way more sense. She was probably into girls back then and maybe didn't know it.
And the bowl cut was
the bowl cut wasn't good, and the fucking shirts. She definitely wasn't into bowl cuts. But I really liked her, and there's 2 popular girls in school. She was one of them. She was like the friend of the most popular girl, but she was also pretty popular. And for whatever reason, she came up to me one day, and she was inviting me to her birthday party. And I think if I had to guess, her parents made her. You know, sometimes parents will do that. Like, you have to invite the whole class. Yeah. And I'm serious. I'm going to check and make sure. And so for whatever reason, she came up to me, and I'm like, hey, Amber. And she's like, hey, Will. My voice probably sounded the same. Hey, Amber. Right. But she came up to me, and she was like, hey, I'm having a birthday party. She handed me an envelope. And I was like, yeah, like, and I was like trying to play it off cool.
Whatever.
I'm like, I might be able to go. I gotta like see what I'm doing. And then she goes, yeah, and she was being really nice. She was not like a popular mean girl. She was just like, I think she just didn't ever like interact with me. And so part of me wants to believe that she genuinely wanted me at her party. But I remember thinking like, how cool is this? And she handed me the thing, and I was playing it all cool. And she sat down at that table. For whatever reason, she was sitting at that circular table. There's 4 of us. And they moved us around or something. So she ends up sitting down. Right after she handed me the invitation, she said something funny, and I do not know what it was. And it may have been, maybe it wasn't funny. But you know when you're giggly around someone you like? For whatever reason, I bust out laughing, and a giant booger came out of my nose.
No.
And it hit her hand.
No.
And it was still connected to my nose. It was a long...
So you were connected to her hand.
And then it was... Yes. And then I was like trying to get it off, and she's like, what the fuck? Like, she saw grossed out. And I was like, what? And then everyone saw, and they started laughing at me. And she was like, what the hell? So that made it better. And she took her fucking invite back. She was like, you can't go to my party. And took it back. And I was like, no. I got so sad. I like ran out of the classroom. It was like a movie scene. I went home, and I was all sad. I'm like, God damn it, Will.
It was like your first chance
ever.
This
up. Yes. But even if it was like, maybe I never would have told her I liked her, but I was at least getting to go to a party for once would have been kind of cool.
Oh.
But she didn't like me. She was nice to me the next year. We were never friends. And then later on in life, I ran into her at a bar. And then she was like, you got to meet my girlfriend. And I actually knew her girlfriend. And I was like, hey, like, how long have you been in the girls? And she's like pretty much forever. Like, I just didn't like want to tell anyone. And I'm like, all right, that makes me feel a little better. But
why was the booger so
important?
It ruined everything?
Yeah. Definitely one of the worst boogers I've ever had. Definitely influenced my life.
I have a picture. It's making me think of it. I have a picture where I was trying to... I don't know what I was taking a picture of. I think I had a bow in my hair, which is uncharacteristic of me.
Is this like when you were younger?
No, like a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I had a bow in my hair.
Okay.
And so I was taking a selfie, just to like, I got a bow in my hair or whatever. Yeah. Like, I look silly because it's not something I do. And I sneezed right at the same time.
Yeah.
And as I took the picture, you can literally see like a little...
Like a line?
Teardrop right in front of the picture. And it was the best picture ever. So I don't really get
Those are the moments we live for.
I don't really get Amber's issue with...
Yeah, I don't get her issue either.
Maybe it was because it was my booger and my picture, you know?
I would like to say that I wouldn't have got mad if the tables were reversed, but I feel like it is weird. Like, I would feel weird about it today if someone did. I don't think I'd be rude, but I'd be like, oh, this is kind of fucking gross. But I also work with people that are very unsanitary. Yeah. So I've been sneezed on, coughed on. It just happens.
It's not comfortable, but it's not like...
But you understand it a little bit better.
Relationship ending.
Yeah.
Friendship ending.
But when you're young, you just care about shit like that. Like,
you care about what other people think.
Yes,
and
I shouldn't have cared.
You're really going to invite that guy?
Yes.
I
think what it was is everyone around her was like, oh my God, Will, that's so gross. And so her reaction was like, yeah, that is gross. Give me my fucking invite back.
Yeah.
And if she ever hears this podcast, I'm cool with that. because she ended up being really nice when I saw her later on in life, and I truly believe that she was genuinely a nice person. She was just a product
Peer
of
pressure.
yeah, which trust me, if it was me and I was popular, I think I would have like fallen into that as well. So I don't care. It made for a good story. All those little things though, all the little stories and stuff. Like I feel like I needed to go through all those things to like be the person I am today because I enjoy being funny. I enjoy, at least I think I'm funny. I don't fucking know. But I enjoy I enjoy conversations. I enjoy interacting. And I take a genuine interest in people because I remember what it was like to not have a genuine interest be taken in me. Yeah. So I never want to treat people that same way.
I feel like I could be better at that. I could be better at.
Do you feel like you ask questions a lot? I was talking to a friend about this last night. Do you think in general conversations, do you think you ask more questions than you respond? Does that make sense? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think I talk about myself more.
You think so?
Then I ask questions, but I have an internal thing always telling me like, it's not all about you. It's not all about you.
Which is good. Which means you probably do it less than you think you do. The fact that you even know that. But I do think that's an important part. Try to make that a thing the next time you hang out with someone. Go for every time I talk about me, I need to ask 2 questions. And just see how long. It's impossible to keep it up forever.
Yeah.
But just try. Because I think we were talking about explanations of stuff like parents that yell at their kids. But the kids are like, they keep doing it because they don't understand why. They just know they got in trouble for it. And it goes back to the Columbine thing where you explain stuff, right? So people forget to understand the person. Let's say, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
And I want to try to give you a real one. Let's say I'm not the biggest Donald Trump fan, right? I don't hate him and I'm not a political person, but I can see in the way he acts, I just don't think he's a good guy, right?
Yeah.
And so I know that. So if let's say you liked him, right? And you came in here and you're like, hey, I saw Donald Trump's speech today and it was awesome. My first thought, I already know I don't like him. So my first thought is you're full of shit. He's dumb. You obviously make bad choices when it comes to people. Yeah. I make all those things in my head, but I don't really understand that, right? I think I do. And I forget to ask questions and maybe I avoid it and I'm like, oh, cool. That's awesome. Like, how's life been? Maybe I avoid it and say something different, right? But I think the best thing to do is go like, oh, it was good. Like what part of it did you like? Because maybe they go, well, I feel like he's a good businessman and he speaks well. And I didn't speak well when I was a kid. So when I see him speak well, it makes me like want to, like I look up to him for that reason.
It has nothing to do with politicians.
Yes, yeah. And then you go, oh yes, this person sees something different. Thank God I asked questions to figure it out. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they go like, oh, I just think he's the best person in the world.
He's got the best policies.
What has he done? Can you tell me about his policies? Once you ask 2 or 3 questions, then because maybe they do answer all those things, and you go, oh yeah, you're still like an idiot and make that choice. That's a earned conclusion, right? But I think it's important to at least ask questions because then you can figure out, and then you're also learning what your own biases are because you automatically assume people that like the thing that you don't like, they're just wrong or stupid or whatever your opinion is. So I think asking questions is super duper important, and I don't always do it, but that's something that I'm implementing for this new year.
Yeah, I could definitely ask more questions, but I think that when I do right now, I usually have an agenda.
When you ask, what do you mean though? Can you explain that?
Like you're going to give me more repertoire to prove to you why I'm right and you're wrong.
So that's when you ask the most questions, you're saying?
When I think you're wrong, but I don't. Okay, I'll just go with this story. So hope Ceci doesn't mind. But so the other day, my wife and I were driving around, and you know that little kid out of Roswell, the 3-year-old that's missing. You heard about that?
I have not heard
so
that.
A dad in Roswell. I'm not sure about all the facts, so I don't want to say anything completely wrong. But from what I understand, is that he killed the baby mama and took the kid.
So the 3-year-old kid. He's missing right now?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
There's still an Amber Alert going on right now.
Okay. I did get an Amber Alert. I do remember that.
So that's still the same one, and they haven't found him yet.
Okay.
And they found the mom dead, strangled in the house the next day or 2 days later or something.
Yeah.
So we were talking about that because there's a billboard on I-25.
Like of the child?
Of the child and then the dad.
Gotcha.
Wanted. So we were talking about that, and I was like, do you think like he's freaking out? That he's like, damn, the whole world's looking for me right now. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, there's no way that these guys could have regret for anything. Like murderers don't have regret for anything. So no, he's not worried. No, me neither.
Yeah.
But she's like, no one's looking, he's not worried that anyone's looking for him. He has one thing on his mind, getting away.
I guess that's partially true, probably.
Maybe for him.
Yeah.
But it prompted me to ask her, so you don't think that any murderers are able to like regret their actions? And she's like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So then I started going into like different types of murders, So like, okay, so you're probably talking about the psychopaths that are like super crazy and like, stabbing you like 48 times is what she said. Or you're going around like a serial killer or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So no, those ones probably don't have any remorse for what they did. But there's different types of murderers too.
For sure.
There's like a situation that went awry.
There's like a spontaneous or premeditated, right?
Or you were
there's
drunk,
different types of people.
Or you weren't planning on hurting someone and they ended up dying because of your actions, but you'd still be a murderer.
Did she understand that towards the end? Did she start agreeing with you?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. So you're saying there was an opportunity where you could have just been like, that's not true.
Like it could have been
Which is a weird conversation because you're almost defending murderers. It's like, don't say that. Not all murderers are like that. So but I get what you're saying.
What we really came down to was that her response, I guess what I came down to, I don't know if she ever agreed with me.
Okay.
But what her initial response is always very emotional.
Yeah.
Like, no, fuck that. Murderers are horrible.
Yeah, fuck them.
I know who they are, and they're all bad, and they're doing what they're doing on purpose, and they all deserve to get the maximum penalty, And my way of thinking is, if someone says, do you think any murderers have the chance of, feeling bad for what they do, having remorse?
Yeah.
And I'll say, well, there's this type of murder, this type of murder, this type of murder. Yeah, I believe someone could.
Yeah.
But she doesn't go there immediately. But once I start asking the questions and breaking it down, then she
kind of invokes you to kind of dive into like what you're thinking. That's super true with almost anything, because you get people that are like what's it, like the abortion thing.
Yeah.
Should it be legal? Is it pro-choice or pro-life? You get people that are super hard pro-life because who that sounds like the right thing to do. Hey, I want babies to live. Like, who would disagree with that message if that was in fact the only message?
Right.
So people that say that, they think they're saying the right thing, right? And maybe they do feel that, but when you start thinking about it, someone told me this once, and because I think I've always been the same way. I'm like, I'm pro-life. Like, we shouldn't be doing that. And then someone told me, like, what about like if someone got raped? And I was like, oh Jesus, like I didn't think of that. And then I'm like, all right, well for sure that. And then they're like, well, what if the person is like, they gave me all these scenarios.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, I get what you're saying. Saying that you're pro-life is simple to do because it sounds like the right thing. But when people say they're pro-choice, they take a fucking hit. People are like, how dare you kill babies? Right. No. I'm not saying I'm pro-abortion. I'm saying I'm pro-choice. And they have to like break it down. You know what I mean? So when you stop and think about it, there's super good points to both sides. But I've always said this. I don't know if I feel the same way anymore as we're talking about today, but I used to always tell people that I wish that my mom didn't have me. Because I kind of still feel that way, because I feel like you shouldn't have a kid if you're not ready to take care of a kid.
But she could have just
she needed the food stamps, is what she told me. Yeah, she literally told me that one day when we were drinking. I was like, I didn't even think I asked. I think she was like, yeah, I remember when you were born, we weren't going to keep you, but we really needed the food stamps. And I was so hurt. I was like, Mom, did you just say that? She's like, I'm sorry. Like, she's all drunk. I just need to be honest, sweetie. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, so it hurt my feelings a lot, but I think that's where it came from. And I'm like, you had me for some fucking food stamps? Like, just get rid of me. I think my vision has changed because I'm proud of who I am. And I think the people around me deserve for me to feel good about that too. So I don't know if I still feel the same way, but part of me does. I do feel like you should be careful with what you do if you can't, which I don't have a kid right now, which I can raise a kid, but there's things that I want to get right before I have a kid.
Yeah, but if you always do that, it might never happen, right?
That's the other part of it. You're absolutely right. And I also believe that not everything's going to be perfect, which is why I think if I did have a child today, I would figure it out. I'd be already good at the things I'm good at.
Already better off
and then I would figure
what
out
you grew up in, right?
So I'm not scared anymore. But at one point in my life, I knew, like when I didn't have a job or I couldn't keep a job longer than a year, I was asking for rides for friends and stuff. Like I knew, like, all right, I can't have a kid right now,
right?
Because I don't want to do to that kid what was done to me. So I think I at least am at that place about it. But I don't know. I still think if you made me pick a side, I think I would still lean pro-choice, because I think people, like, who are you to tell someone else what to do?
Yeah.
Like I never think whether I like it or not. I just think it's your choice.
Yeah, I think the beauty of it is that I can usually see all sides.
Yeah.
You know, like I can see the pros and cons to every side of an argument.
Do you think it's because you take a genuine interest in understanding both sides?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that same mentality should be something you take towards everything,
Yeah.
right?
And
Yeah.
I like that. I like that
Yeah.
I can be like, okay, so why do you feel this way? It ended up in this conversation. Ended up in this conversation that I ended up. She saw my side more like, oh, I could
towards
see
the
like
end.
the light bulb kind of go
Yeah.
off. That wasn't really my intention, but I feel like maybe it was.
The other
in a
side
way.
of that is it's cool that she allowed herself to hear you out.
Yeah.
Because some people are so fucking stubborn to where even when you break it down, what do you think this person should? You know what I mean? They're like, no, and you know they get your point, but they're just being stubborn because they don't want to
Yeah.
be wrong. So it's pretty cool of Ceci to go like, you know what? Now that
Well, and she's
open
one of those
to it,
people though. She is like she's pretty stubborn, and she is the type to say like she'll rather than maybe hearing my point, she'd rather just get upset
yeah,
and just be like, I don't want to fight about this.
I do
I
that
wasn't trying to
sometimes, too.
fight though. You know,
Yeah.
I was trying to have a conversation. But I think this was one of the first times
really,
that we were complete opposites on something, and she actually heard me out, and she actually like, I had to tell her at least. I think I felt the need to tell her at least once, like, not an argument,
yeah,
just want to know your opinion.
yeah,
And then it ended up coming out favorably, you know?
yeah. That's really
But-
cool. Did it feel like whenever that was over, where you're like, I kind of want to take this approach more often?
Yeah.
Yeah, or do you
Like
think,
it was fun.
did you
know?
tell her like, hey, I appreciate how you do this? Because maybe if she doesn't know that, right? I started noticing if you tell people you appreciate them for things, they make more of an effort to do that. I'll give you a good example. And I don't know why I keep going back to middle school. In middle school, I had a teacher. I saw her years later, and she ended up telling me why she did this, and I'll tell you at the end. But someone said like, how do you spell this? And she was like, ask Will. He's a good speller. He's probably the best speller in the class. He always gets the highest grades on spelling. And I was like, yeah, I'll look at it. And I didn't think of myself as a good speller.
You're
And
probably
I
the
wasn't a good
worst.
speller. And so like, but then like from then on, everyone in the class would come to me. Hey, Will, can you spell check my paper? So then I went home and I started learning how to spell better because I now had to live up to this thing that I was.
That's smart.
So I started doing that. And then later on in life, I saw her and I talked to her about it. And I said, hey, I don't think I was a good speller. She was like, no, you're a shitty speller. Why do you think I said that? She's like, I needed to find a way to get you to like pay attention to that.
Wow.
And I was like, how fucking genius was that?
Yeah.
But reminding someone of something, and I'm not saying to make stuff up, right? The point isn't to go like, hey, you're an awesome dresser, and then maybe they'll dress better, whatever
Right.
the case is. But if you do like something, I think as human beings, we forget to appreciate it. But when you appreciate it, it helps them do it better. It helps them feel better. Sometimes when people are in good shape, they don't know until someone tells them, right?
Right.
And then vice versa, or anything like that. If you are working really hard and maybe going to school and working 2 jobs, you know that you're working hard. You don't really want validation, but when no one says anything, you're like, maybe I'm not. But when someone's like, hey, I admire you, like that's cool. I hope that when I go to school, I can work as hard as you did. They go like, yeah, and then they go work even harder and they keep doing it. It gives them like the motivation to do it. So I think those things are important too. So maybe like telling her like, hey, remember the other day? Like, I think it's pretty cool that you did that. Even if it never happens again, it's maybe it'll like,
yeah.
and she could do that for you if there's stuff that you fuck up at and she wants
I
to
think
be
she
better
does
at.
really good at that.
She does? Like,
Yeah,
reminding you of
she's
it?
really good at like thanking me for things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Even something silly as like, oh, you made the bed today. Like she's very good
It's
at
weird
like,
how that matters a little bit,
yeah,
right?
she's
When you
really good at being like, I noticed you made the bed today. Like, thanks so much. And I'm like, yeah.
That's right. I make every bed
That's
all
what
the time.
I did. I mean, I really don't. But yeah, when she notices, I'm like, I need that a lot though.
It feels good. I didn't think I needed that, but I started. First of all, it's okay to need that, right? I think that's why people don't realize they need it because they think if they say they need it, then they're needy. But who gives a fuck? Like if you're needy, I'd rather you be honest and
I
go.
just need some validation.
At least I have the info to make you the happiest version, right? Because in a relationship, if you don't know they're into something or that whatever it is, you just like you can never get it right. So I've already failed because you haven't told me the info, or maybe it's my fault for not searching.
Have you
for
guys
it.
done that 5 love languages or 7 love languages?
I feel like I've heard that. What is that? I feel
It's
like I've
like
heard that phrase.
There's a book written by, I believe it's a psychologist, with like, there's either 5 or 7 different ways.
Is it like body language? Is it like different ways you can tell
it's like
someone
sense
you care
of
about them?
touch or
Yeah.
words of affirmation
I
or
feel like I've heard that.
stuff like that. Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting better at that. Laura's really good at it. She'll do that all the time where she'll like just smile at me. I'll be playing a video game and like I can just feel her like And I fucking look over. I'm like, what are you, like, I feel weird because I'm like kind of rude. I'm like, what are you like staring at me? She's like, I don't know. I just love you. Like, I appreciate who you are. And I'm happy with you.
Oh.
And then I feel like an asshole because I said it that way. I'm like,
what the fuck you want?
Yeah, I was like, thanks, babe. I gotta get back to this game though. Like, if there's any way you could just like wait to the end and tell me. Is it getting a little red?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting a little too excited.
Yeah, I got excited on that one. But no, she'll do little things like that. And I don't think I need that stuff, but at the end of it, I'm always like, it reminds me.
You guys should do that though.
Is it a book or what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can either read the book. I read it, and then I went through, there's like a not a workshop, but like a...
Is it like a group thing?
No, it's just you and your wife or your fiance, and you just go through like a bunch of questions, and you try to figure out
what it is.
You try to figure out like what your love language is and what her love language is, and vice versa. So
it helps you understand the things that are important.
Yeah, and then she'll tell you like, hey, no, this is my love language. And normally what you'll see is that the way that you show love is normally how you want to receive it, not so much the way that she needs it.
So what is the goal? To learn how to accept their love, or to learn how to learn
how to love them in the way that they receive it most appropriately.
I got you. So it's her job to love me the way that I need to receive it, and it's my job to mold what I'm doing to hers.
Yeah. So like if she needs like more touch, but you're over here like giving her gift after gift, thinking like, this is, I love you.
She fucking knows I love her.
She knows I love her because I'm giving her this ring and I'm giving her this necklace and I'm taking her on these trips. But what she really needs is just like for you to hold her hand.
Yeah. And she'll feel way more love than all those gifts. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I would do that. I feel like I've heard that before.
You should.
I'll check it out for sure. I think that anything that I can do, and me and Laura are both really good about this. We'll sit down and talk about it. Like, what kind of things can we do differently, or what can we work on?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I hate arguing, and we argue way less than we used to. And when we do, it's so passionate. And then as soon as it's over, I'm like, that's so stupid. I always think that. I'm like, why? Like, it didn't match, the energy didn't match the situation.
Yeah.
Like, God, that felt like a really, like, we fought over a restaurant one day, like, just weird stuff. And it's so important. I'm like, you don't even know that I like wings? Like, you don't fucking know that I want wings? You know that. And we went to that restaurant last week, but you didn't even ask me if we wanted to go get wings, and you knew I want wings. Like, it's stupid, but it feels so passionate because
in the moment,
And afterwards, I'm like, Jesus Christ, we could just go get goddamn wings. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as big of a deal as I made it.
Right.
You think you could pour me some of your water or mine? Because I'm out.
Just drink out of this. I haven't even had any.
Okay. I'm cotton mouthy. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be beneficial for you to do it even if you're not having issues.
Yeah, I think that's another part, is people usually wait until they're having issues.
Yeah,
but don't. Alexa was going to speak.
Like always, she looks like she is.
She was thinking about it.
Yep.
I found on the web.
Alexa, stop talking. To put her in check sometimes.
But yeah, it'll just help you guys start thinking, and it helps you think too, like, to ask
questions.
You're supposed to ask randomly without any prompting. You can't ask me the same thing, but I ask you, hey, on a scale from 1 to 10 or whatever, where's your love meter right now? Pretty much like, how happy are you in this relationship right now? And she gets to answer, but she can't be like, how about you?
But what can she do? Nothing.
All she can do is say a number from 1 to 10, and then you can say why. And what can I do to make it better?
Oh, what is the point of that? To help you from arguing about it?
No, it's not even during an argument. It's random. And it's just like...
I guess what would be the bad thing if they asked you back? Like, what are they trying to avoid there?
Because it was you thinking... She needs to think about it on her own terms. You can't bring it up and then her to be like, how about you?
Plus, you might change your number based off what she said.
Maybe.
So I'm like, how happy? And she's like a 10. Like, and I'm really like a 4. Like, maybe I go, oh, I'm like a 9.
Yeah.
Because I feel obligated to. I
don't that could be a reason
while
too.
She's happy. Yeah, so I get it. That's probably a good idea.
You just ask her, and then she'll just be like, "Oh, I'm at a 7 right now," and be like, "Okay, what could I do to
make it a 10?
Raise it?"
Yeah.
No, maybe not a 10. You know, no one's perfect.
I'm going for 10.
What could I do to raise it?
I don't think I'll get them, but if you someone told me that once. I don't remember who it was, but they always said, "Shoot for the stars, and you might end up on the moon."
No, the way around.
No, the moon's closer than the stars. No, shoot for the stars, like shoot far, shoot high, and then you might end up on a really cool place as well. The star is farther than the moon.
Pretty sure that...
Do you really want to have this argument right now about how far stars are? Alexa, how far are stars?
No.
That's not what we ask?
No.
What are you trying to...
Another Amazon customer.
Alexa, be quiet.
Alexa, shut it. All right, what are we asking Alexa?
Alexa, what is the quote about shooting for the moon or stars and landing somewhere?
That was the most That was a crazy ass question. Hey Alexa, what is the quote about shooting for the stars?
Here's something I found on the web. According to allcation.com, shooting stars are small meteors which, passing through the Earth's atmosphere,
All right.
burn up, producing the bright
Alexa.
light that we see.
You're an idiot. He just shut off. He's like, fuck you.
See, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars.
But I think that saying's fucked up, though.
Okay, now you can ask her how far everything's away. If you want to,
I don't want to. I'm 100%
Mr.
because
Norman
we've been to the
Vincent
moon.
Peale.
We've been to the moon. Have we ever been to
You
a star?
probably passed by stars.
All right.
But you can't get on a star. You're gonna die.
I agree.
Blow up into flames.
So what's the beauty in landing in the stars then? Sounds pretty fucking terrifying. I'd rather shoot for the stars and land on the moon because at least there I know I'll be good. And I could do that jumpy around thing.
It's more about like distance rather than.
I feel like you took my phrase and destroyed it, and so we're just gonna.
I mean, Vincent might think otherwise.
Oh man, how long do you think we've been recording for? If you had to guess.
If I had to guess,
I can't even
about an hour and a half.
Okay, I think you're right too. All right, so let's do one more thing that I'll, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. How do you feel about everything so far?
Good.
I feel like towards the ends, it always gets better when you open up a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like this is only my second one ever, so I feel like I'm getting better at it too. But
I think it'll get
enjoyed
more
our conversations for sure. So the thing I'm gonna do, I haven't decided if I'm gonna do it with every guest. I did it with Stefan on the last podcast we did, but I essentially found a site that does anonymous confessions.
Okay.
So people will post them. They're not exclusive to New Mexico. They're global, and so I picked one out. We're just going to read the confession and then just kind of give your thoughts on it.
Okay.
You cool with that?
Yep.
All right. The one last week was pretty funny. So you'll have to check that one when it airs tomorrow. This one says, all right, here we go. So this is from a girl because it says follow her. The screen name is @quack. I don't know if that means anything. But this is what it says. It says, I'm bi, and then in parentheses to put just for some context. I currently have a boyfriend who I really like, but I recently met this girl, and I think I'm starting to have a crush on her. I'm definitely not going to break up with my boyfriend over this. In parentheses, she put, that's a stupid reason. But now that I have feelings for this girl, I'm feeling really guilty. How do I stop liking someone? Oh, shit. That's a weird-ass situation.
But typical.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah. What would be your advice to her if you could speak to her? I forgot her screen name. Do you think you would tell her to go for it?
Or quack.
Quack.
I would tell her that if she wants to be with her boyfriend, I would probably tell her what my mom tells me.
What does your mom tell you?
It don't matter where you get your appetite as long as you eat at home.
Ooh, okay.
But then she's saying that she has a crush, so.
Yeah, and then what if she really hurts her boyfriend?
By her feelings?
So do you think she should just go talk to that girl, or she should tell him?
No, I don't think she should act on it at all.
So just move on?
Yeah, like if she's saying that she wants to stay with her boyfriend.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I think if she is bi, first of all, she didn't say this, but I'm going to assume that he doesn't know that, right? Because I feel like if he did know that she was bi, then she could probably approach him about it. There's a reason, if I'm guessing, and I wish she would have wrote more, that she doesn't feel comfortable telling him that. But I think I wouldn't do anything to hurt the guy, for sure, because I think that I'd just talk to him. So my advice to her would be to tell him that she has feelings for a girl. And if he gets really upset about it, that's going to be an issue later on anyways, because I think in relationships, people forget to let the other person be a person. And it's kind of like your love language you were just saying. It's your job to understand their versions of stuff and help them figure that out. Me and Laura have actually talked about this, because Laura's hooked up with a girl before.
Okay.
And if she's not comfortable with me saying that, I'll cut it out of the podcast. I don't give a fuck. But we talked about that, and she had essentially, I think I told her at one point, like, hey, if you ever need to, like, I didn't get mad at her or anything. It didn't bother me. I'm like, hey, if you ever feel like you need to, like, figure that stuff out, like, I think it's my job as your fiance to, like, put you in a position to figure that out. And so whatever that is, if that ever comes up, let me know, and we'll figure it out together. Because I think it's important, right? Because, like, yeah, I love her. Yeah, I would rather, like, her not feel those ways about anyone else, regardless if it's a girl or a guy. But if she did, it would be my job to like help her figure it out, right? Because she, in this situation, this girl that wrote in, I think she needs to figure out if she likes girls or not. And so I would encourage her to tell him. And if he gets mad, then that's already an issue. If he's cool about it, I'm not saying that he's going to be like, yeah, go hook up with girls, but maybe he'll say like, hey, well, like, do you like, I'm glad he told me, you know what I mean? Like, can we like at least figure this out? Maybe like, because if you're not attracted, if you're more attracted to girls than you are guys, I think you need to figure that shit out. And you're not going to figure that shit out until you explore it. Worst case scenario, you shove all that shit down and it pops up later on anyways. Because if you're meant to be with someone that you really, really like, it's going to happen anyways. That's my theory on it. So I'd rather, even if it breaks my heart, I'll put myself in that guy's shoes. Even if it breaks my heart, I would much rather break my heart now than to break my heart 10 years from now when we have a family that maybe you only stayed with me because you felt guilty about that. Like, I wouldn't want that.
I could see that.
So I think that she should tell him.
I guess it depends on how big of a crush too. Like she could tell him, hey, you know, if she hasn't already, tell him I'm into guys, I'm into girls. You know, I find both attractive, but if it's just like a little like, oh, I think she's cute or whatever, depends on what she means by crush.
But I feel like girls say that all the time. So if she said that as a guy, like if Laura told me like, hey, I think this girl's kind of hot, like I'd be like, oh, she is hot or she's not hot. I would also give my opinion. I wouldn't understand that. So I think she would have to be way more specific. Like, because I think a crush is different. She didn't say I'm like attracted to this girl. She had crush. I mean, she also likes the girl for who she is as well. If I had to guess.
Yeah.
So I think that she would have to at least say that. But no, that'd be my advice.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can see both sides.
Personally, I think it's important to marinate on things.
Yes,
and
that's a good idea.
Feel it out, figure out how big of a deal this really is, and if it's something that you really feel the need to act on, you know?
That's true. You should never just do shit.
There's really no point in opening a can of worms.
That doesn't need to be opened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like
my thought process.
I always think of it, I guess because me and Laura are friends, and so we talk as friends still, so I can't picture a situation where I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about it. But in the same breath, I also understand that's not everyone's dynamic. So if it's not her and his dynamic, I think maybe you're right. Maybe there's no point in
I think
doing
that should be everyone's dynamic, though.
Should be, huh?
And I think my wife and I are getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's taken some time.
I think as long as you understand that it's important for people to have that, even if you're... Like, if I was in a relationship and we weren't that way, as long as the person understood that I need that and allows me to maybe talk to one of my buddies that way or have that from someone else, I'd be cool with it.
Yeah.
So, and it would be the same thing back, right? But I think I'm just, like, mentally like that. Like, if I can't give someone something and they really need it, I think I should find a way to get them that thing.
Help them get it.
Yeah, if I'm not the one to give it to you, then let's figure it out. If you need someone that's nice and I'm way direct about everything, then maybe you need to hang out with your sister more who's nice or something. You need to have a relationship where you're getting
doesn't mean that you guys have to leave each other.
Yeah, or maybe I can be nicer
from me.
It's the hardest thing when someone's needs contradict who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one because you're like, well, I want to give you what you want, but like I also don't want to be anything other than myself. And so that's always a tough one. But I think if the two people care enough about each other, they'll find a way to make it work. Yeah. Whether it's them, maybe it's a little bit of both. Give up a little bit, maybe be a little nicer, but also understand nicer is good and not necessarily like nice all the time. Right. How about I say 3 less fucked up things this week, and I think that should be okay. Or
2
something
more
like
compliments.
That. Yeah, going, all right, cool. That's part of the compromise. It's just understanding you may not get entirely what you need, but the effort matters, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, well, thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate talking to you. I think we're going to do a lot more of these in the future. If you have things that come up that you want to bring up next time or whatever, you can always do that. I always think about crazy. I think about it, and I have a podcast with myself in my head before I go to bed, and it keeps me up.
Do you have like a journal on your side table?
No.
Should.
In my head will literally play out a situation. But I guess I don't want it to be too planned, but I like that those things are in my head because they'll pop up during the conversation. Yeah. We didn't plan any of this stuff. We kind of just talked about stuff. I feel like doesn't it feel good that way, though?
It does, yeah. We didn't plan anything. We didn't have any script or anything, but there were some things that had come up that
You missed out on anything?
No. Like I'm saying that a lot of the stuff that I brought up, it was because over the last week I knew this was coming up.
Oh,
and I
so
was
you're
like,
I think that's the best way to do it, though, is to have a few things. So when there are those moments where you're not talking about anything, oh, yeah, did you see that? Like, those are the conversations.
Or I'll just, connect.
Yeah.
Just be like,
It'd
that
be-
made me think of this.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be terrible just to be here like, so...
And I don't think we had any of those
No,
moments.
I don't think so at all.
was
Way
good.
less. I think I had like 4 the last. I think I maybe won this one. I'd have to watch it back, but
I don't think, like, you were drinking and I was like, my turn. You know, every time you took a drink, I was like,
I feel like I still get a little nervous though.
anyway, here I get the mic.
But no, I think it was a good trade-off. I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, anytime.
Much love.
Whatever.
And I'm out. A mic drop.